evening. My name is Tim LaCroix. My firm is a boutique law firm, LaCroix Law. We do only real estate related law. Tonight I want to talk to you about, again, the other thing that probably makes your eyes glaze over if attorney didn't do it is real estate. Now I know some real estate professionals in here. You've got your niche. When I start talking about easements and liens, oh my gosh, forget about it, right? Well, here's one thing I want you to remember. Everyone in this room, unless you're homeless, has an interest, a property interest in real estate. You live in it, you work in it, you invest in it, but even more importantly, right, we raise our families. It's where we put our head down at night. We go to build our lives and careers in environments like this or other buildings to make our futures. We invest in real estate to provide for our families now and in the future. Real estate and real estate interests are something that each and every one of us, though our eyes may glaze over, really need to be aware of. You may not understand it, but you need to be aware of it. Most importantly, my theme for tonight, you need to be aware of the risks. So real estate, real property, it's been around forever, right? It's one of those things that historically for millennia, cultures and empires have been built by owning it. Kings and queens, lords and ladies, serfs and vassals are based in the idea of property ownership or property leasing. Historically, real estate attorneys like me have referred to those ownership interests in real estate as a bundle of sticks. So you might have a variety of interests. You might own the real estate, right? You own the property. You may lease some property. That's an ownership interest. Oh, we've got a mortgage lender here. Your mortgage, they have an interest in your property. If you had a landscaper come and build a patio and brick wall, guess what? He, according to state statute, has an interest in your real estate. So we talk about real estate interest historically as a bundle of sticks because I think it's really good to illustrate that, right? Now, when you buy real estate, most of us rarely have all the bundle of sticks, right? On closing, most of us buy with a lender. We know the mortgage company. They've got a mortgage or a lien on the property securing our payment of that debt. If you live in an HOA, don't you love living in an HOA? They've got a bunch of interests and rights to your property, right? They can tell you where to put your garbage can, where to park, what color you can paint your house. That's an interest in property. So not a big deal for those of us typically who live in the urban areas, but you may have mineral rights, right? Mineral rights that may not be yours. All these interests in properties that we refer to as a bundle of sticks. However, what I want to focus on is that we all have. What I want to focus on, though, is the risks, right? What are some of those events, those risks that could put your rights to your property at risk? Well, as we've said, I'm going to use Les's illustration. He talked about his co-owner, his partner, who property information didn't get recorded. So there are regularly stray interests that can pop up on title. And when you go, I see a real estate agent here. That's always something that we do. Mortgage lenders, very interested in making sure that there's clear title. Because guess who wants to have that first stick right up at the top? That lender, of course, right? So the risk that could be there certainly would be a stray claim on title. Let's be honest, though. Your neighbor, he builds a shed, and he builds it 10 feet over your property line. Guess what? He's just taking some of your sticks. What about your city? They have that road out in front, maybe a city road, maybe a county road, maybe a state road. Guess what? They already have an access or a right-of-way on there, and they can come along and say, guess what? For the next 6 months, because we're going to do some improvements, we're going to take part of your property and use that. How many of you live in an area with utility lines? How many of you live in an area that don't have utility lines? I guarantee there are utility easements rights and risks to your property. Access easement. So easement is just a right for somebody to have access to your property. If you own a cabin up north, I'd be surprised if you or one of your neighbors doesn't have some sort of an access easement. It could be the very road that you drive into the property on. These are all risks to your rights because someone else is owning those. So why is that something that we need to be conscious of, right? Because guess what? Most of us, we live our lives, like I said, enjoying those properties, working in those properties, raising our families. We're not paying attention to what our neighbor is doing. We get these letters in the mail that are full of jargon that I don't understand what this is about. We go to closings, we either want to sell, upgrade, buy a bigger house, those sorts of things. These are events that can trigger some of these risks to real estate. Buying, selling, leasing. You know one of the biggest risks that we all have to our property rights? Is someone in our family dying. Because you may end up having, the old aunt that left you something. Well, if there's no will, or even if there is a will, you may, as a result of their death, have an interest in that property. Now that you have to fix and clean up, you didn't even ask for it, and it's on your plate. So there are these various risks. There's these various events: buying, selling, leasing. The city coming through and having to do some sort of work. We get creative, right? We want to do a self-help estate plan because we know we should do something. And someone told us that if we sign this thing called a quitclaim deed, that somehow we're going to fix some property rights. I'm telling you, the quitclaim deed was almost one of the worst things ever invented. And you see real estate professionals nodding. It's too easy to sign away your property rights. Oh, let me tell you, one of the other biggest issues with property rights and risks is when there's a co-owner, right? No one gets married planning on getting a divorce. But if you've ever been through a divorce, the first thing you talk about is kids. The second thing you talk about is the house. Another risk, an event that puts your property at risk. So what do you do about that? You're living life. You're not thinking about these risks. Well, let me just admonish you here, and this is the whole theme of tonight. We have gathered around us, if we're professional, reasonable people, we have gathered around us a portfolio of professional individuals that we call when we have questions, because we know that certain decisions have consequences. We might call an accountant if we've got a tax decision. We may call our investment broker or our financial advisor. Hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What are your recommendations? We may call our estate planner. If we're reasonable, we have an estate attorney. Thinking about doing something, how is this going to impact my will, my trust, my estate plan? The other professional you need to have in your portfolio is a real estate attorney. As Les said, you can call me 6 months later than you should, and it can cost you $40,000. Or you can call me 6 months earlier, say, hey, Tim, I'm thinking about this. Someone's asking me to sign this document. I've got this thing in the mail. I don't understand what it means. A 20-minute phone call, most of the time for most of these relationships to someone like me, would be complimentary, can save you not only money, but frustration, because litigation is next to a divorce, probably the worst thing you want to go through. I talk to people out of litigation all the time. So what we need to do on these triggering events, we need to have a person that we can call in our professional portfolio that can give us real estate advice. I get calls every day. Tim, because I built a nice network. Tim, I got something, I think it's going to put one of my sticks at risk. No, they don't say that, but that's what they mean. I think there might be a risk here. Can you tell me what this means? Or how should I handle this? Or is this maybe something I should retain you and get you involved in because I think there's an opportunity and need to protect myself? What is a good real estate attorney? Okay? There's a lot of attorneys. You talk about, you can't throw a stone and hit a hypnotist. Or you can throw a stone downtown St. Paul and hit an attorney in just about any corner. Certainly in Minneapolis, the drivers are trying to run them over, right? They're targeting, right? But what makes a good real estate attorney? A real estate attorney may be your estate planning attorney, the person that helped you draft your will or your trust, and they may have some proficiency there. It may be that person that helped you with your divorce. They may have some depth of experience and knowledge. I'll tell you who it's not likely. It's not likely that attorney that helped you get out of that DUI last year. Probably not the right attorney for a real estate attorney. A real estate attorney is someone who regularly deals with buying and selling commercial and residential real estate. They know the real estate forms inside and out. They know the implications of those forms and what they mean. There's someone who deals regularly with leasing, both residential and commercial. They know what a lease means, what different terms of a lease, because let me tell you what, a commercial lease, I guarantee, was drafted by a lawyer, and if you're renting space for 5 years, 10 years, a value of $500,000, $1 million over that period of time, probably makes sense that if you want to hold on to that bundle of sticks, that you consult with a real estate attorney that can help guide you through that process. A real estate attorney is someone who's going to know how to deal with your HOA. A real estate attorney is going to know how to deal with those boundary line issues, who regularly deals with land use and zoning. That's the types of questions that you would want to know, and if you're shopping for a real estate attorney. Now, this is why I do what I do. I love helping people. Les, it sounds cliche. Les knows it. I'm a people person. That's why I'm here tonight, like talking to people. I love real estate. Real estate is the cliche is, it's one of the most expensive commodities, and they ain't making any more of it. I love real estate. I love the fact that my law, the things that I work with, go back for hundreds of years in the ancient English code. Real estate law is fascinating. Real estate law is so common. As I said, each of us owns real estate, owns an interest in real estate. More importantly, it's where we raise our families. It's where we put ourselves to bed at night. It's where we build our lives and our careers and our dreams. Our real estate interests are at risk. You need to have a good real estate attorney that you can call as part of your professional advisors so you can protect those risks. I'd be glad to answer any questions through the course of this evening. Les, thank you so much for the opportunity, and I hope that you all have a great evening.